So let us discuss about this topic today, credit notes and return orders. You can see this topic, right? Credit note and return order, or credit note return order are one and the same in accounts payable. Actually, you can create a credit note or a return order normally. So let's see how we can create a credit note or return order. Firstly, what is credit note? Any idea what is credit note?
Mm, so like if we take any, if we buy anything from vendor and we return the goods, there's a possibility that we might be giving some credit note.
Correct. If you buy some goods from the vendor and you have invoiced it, suppose assume that, and what happened is that the goods are not so good or not performing well. So you want to return the goods since you have some return policy with the vendor that you can return the goods. Then what will you do is you will return those goods. So if you have to return the goods, see when you receive the goods, you have your financial transaction posted for product receipt as well as for invoice. So we have also inventory transaction posted or inventory being added. But if you are returning the goods means everything has to be reversed, right? So again, the inventory has to be reversed or deducted, as well as the invoice entry that you have done should be reversed completely. So everything has to be accounting impacts as well as the physical impacts that happens in the inventory has to be completely reversed. So for that case, we will create a credit note or post a credit note generally. And also when you are returning any goods to a vendor, you also need to send a slip, right? So vendor will generally send a product receipt note or invoice. So along with the goods that you have returning, you have to also send credit note to the business address of the vendor, saying that we have returning these particular goods that have been delivered by you because they are not in proper place or not working good. Or the condition of the goods is not so good, so we are returning the goods. So you should send an acknowledgement or at least a receipt kind or invoice kind of thing because you are delivering the goods to the vendor in return. So for that purpose, we will create this credit notes. Generally, we create credit notes just like invoices, and we can reverse it, or we can directly, I mean, print and send this invoice to the vendor so that if at all there is a payment also made, assume that invoice is done. For you have received some goods, invoice is done, payment also done. Then you have returned the goods. So then what happens once after you return the goods? Any idea?
It's like they already have that amount.
Re-
We be having that amount with us, just like when we return something from Amazon and we have
Correct.
that amount, it will be adjusted for that.
It will be adjusted for what?
I mean, that trade note that we already have in their account will be adjusted for the kind of amount we will be paying.
No. 1 second. See, first you ordered something in Amazon, you have received the good and you have paid for it. Suppose it's cash on delivery and you paid it.
Yeah.
Once after receiving the good, opening it and you see that it's not fair or it's not good, and you
Yeah.
thought of returning it, and the evening you have claimed a return or just said that you
Mm.
are returning this good to the Amazon. So what Amazon will do? Amazon will send a delivery guy after 2 days who would take this good from you in return. And then what happens?
Cash will be returned. I
Correct,
mean, yeah.
correct. You will have to give your bank account to which the cash has to be refunded. That step is there. If you pay it, you have to ask for a refund. So that's how the credit notes work. Suppose if the invoice is not paid, let's assume that you pay later option, you choose pay later option in Flipkart or Amazon. You received the good, but you just return the good again. So there is no need to pay, right? You did not paid earlier, or you choose this option of pay later after 1 month. But after receiving in 2 days only, you have returned the good. So there is no need of payment or refunds. So no payment is done by you, no refund you will get. Just it will be simply cancelled. So these are two situations where you have settled an invoice with a payment, or where you did not settle an invoice with a payment, where you are raising a credit note for such an invoice. Got the scenarios, all of you? A purchase order invoice on which no payment is
Yes.
made. Still the invoice is open, for which you are creating a credit note now, or returning the goods, and there is no payment transaction involved in it at all. And there is a purchase order invoice, which is where you have received the goods and invoiced it, and you have made payment also, settled the invoice already with a payment transaction. Then you are creating a credit note. For that credit note, you will again receive refund of amount, right? So that's how it is. So let us see both the scenarios, how we can create credit notes and use them. Let me just duplicate this tab. So I'm in MRF legal entity. Credit note creation is just like purchase order creation, only same steps, just that you will have this negative details, or the quantity will be in negative number. That's all. Suppose that if you want to create a credit note, you can go to accounts payable here. Go to all purchase orders here. Takes a while to load. So I'll create a new purchase order, as you can see here. See, for which particular vendor you are going to create this purchase order, you can select. Let us assume that I am going to create it for Maruti Suzuki. Here, Maruti Suzuki. I'm returning goods that I have bought from Maruti Suzuki. So which goods we'll see later. Then here you will give the site and warehouse. So goods might have been delivered to this particular site and warehouse only, right? From here only you will reverse the or send the goods back. So you will select this site and warehouse here. So site will automatically get selected. Then the most important one is that this one, purchase type. Generally for return orders, you can select this purchase type as returned order. You can see here. Or for credit notes, you can select this as returned order rather than a purchase order. Purchase order means for buying. Returned order means for returning, right? So you can select this order type as or purchase type as returned order. Here. See, once you select returned order, there are some details that would change. See earlier, suppose if I select it as a purchase order, see your delivery address is your address because goods are being delivered to you. Suppose if I select returned order, delivery address is vendor's delivery address. See Maruti Suzuki, because goods are being sent to Maruti Suzuki now or sent to the vendor, right? So delivery address will automatically change here. So that's the use of having this return order. And also you will have this RMA number or return material number, something. You can give some number if you want to. It's not required. It's not a compulsory field to. And by which date you are going to deliver the goods. So if I should start now, it will deliver in 2 days. So I'll give the delivery date of future like 22. So that's what, there is nothing to change, just the vendor account. Change it to returned order, not purchase order. Give site and warehouse dimensions and give the delivery date and click on OK. It's asking something. RMA number has to be filled. That's okay. Let's fill this RMA number as well. Return material order number 1. Just give this. Then I'll click on OK. RMA number for reference. See, it's same like a purchase order again. You can see open order. It's an approved status and all. Suppose that you want to reverse 2 cycles that you have bought from this particular vendor, which are not so good or not in good position. So if you want to return those 2 goods or 2 cycles, you can select these 2 cycles directly here. 2 cycles. Select the quantity as 2, not 2, minus 2. See here, minus 2. Cycle, select the quantity as minus 2, and you can see unit price as 1000 and net amount as minus 2000. Since you are returning the goods, you have to select it as minus 2. And from here, the process will be the same. You will confirm the PO, receive the goods. Receiving here means delivering the goods in the sense. If you're receiving negative quantity means you are delivering that quantity out from your company, and you can post the invoice next, which will eventually debit the accounts payable account. Normally, when we do invoice, it will credit the accounts payable account, right? It will debit the accounts payable account. That's all. So this is one way how I can select the good that I have to return to the vendor. Other than this, I can also select from which particular purchase order or which particular invoice I want to return the goods. I can select that too. So that I'll show you now. I'll just remove this one here. From here, line I'll remove. So here I go to purchase order line. If I go there, I can see one option here called new credit note. See, you can also do manually one line if you want to. If not, you can select an invoice directly here, the original invoice for which you want to create a delivery note. Here, if I click on purchase order line, I can see credit note. Click on credit note. So it shows me the list of purchase orders and invoices done for this particular vendor. So first it shows all the list of purchase orders done for the purchase orders and purchase order invoices done for this particular vendor. CP1 number 1, 4, 6, 8, 5 and 17. There are quite few. And you can also see actually you can also see this lines. So P1 number 4, you can see 2 lines. P1 number 1, you can see a single line, cycles of 2 quantity. Suppose that you want to reverse this particular P1 number 1 and MSI number 45, invoice number MSI 45. These goods you are going to return because they are not good. So you can select this line here. See here, select the line, single line. Or if there are 2 lines in that, suppose if I am going for this PO wherein there are 2 lines, but iPhones are good, you are not going to return the iPhones, only you want to return the cycles. So you can select cycle itself, only cycle. Okay, in this way you can select. Suppose I am going here wherein there is only one line. I'll just select that particular line which I want to return, 2 quantity of cycles. I'll click on OK here. So it just takes a minute to copy those same lines here into this particular credit note. See here, the line is copied automatically onto the credit note or the return order. See, minus 2 quantity, 1000 and 2000 as it is. If you manually create also, it will come like this only. But if you want to choose it from a specific order, out of specific order, specific line, if you want to choose, so you can choose it in this way. Okay, clear guys, clear for all of you. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so assume that we have to return only one good from this, not 2 goods. One good only. So then you can alter it. If you can change this -2 to -1 if you want to. Anytime you can change here. So this is one way of bringing that negative line onto the PO. I'll show you again. I'll just remove this line. Okay, and just delete this line to bring it once again for you. So go to purchase order line, go to credit note. So here actually you can see invoices. I mean the POs and the invoices related to them. Other than this, I can see also purchase orders. I think. Let me see here. No, I can only see the invoices, and the invoices here under the related purchase orders on the other side. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So again, I can select that particular purchase order for which I want to return the goods or the invoice. So not this one, it should be this one. 2 cycles. You can select it here also. From here also you can select how much you want to return, or directly you can say 1 here automatically, so that it will bring -1 there. You can set 2 here, again it will bring -2 there. So it also works in this way. Click OK and it will just copy the same line onto the return order again. So here -2, 1000 and 2000. From here the process will be the same, like confirming the PO and returning, I mean receiving and all details and all same. So I think we might have some automatic charges on this. Let's see if we have some charges for this vendor. Just clicked on total 2000 only. I don't see any automatic charges for this vendor. I think they are for Sahara. So for Maruti Suzuki we don't have any. So I'll just, or I think it doesn't copy automatically into the order. Okay. Then the next step is actually confirm it. Confirmed. It's the same status. Then you can receive the goods. I mean, we can deliver the goods. Receiving means if you post product receipt here, which indicates that you are delivering the goods to the, or returning the goods to the vendor. So here you can just give the same return RMA, just like that RMA1, return material number 1. 2 cycles -2, you can see, and click on OK. So any guess what will be the voucher for the product receipt? Anyone? Any of you?
Purchase approval will be done beneath this image.
That is an error. Specify return action for this item. Yeah, 1 second. I'll come back to that point. So return action, it is asking. Where do we have this return action? Just checking for it. Picking. No. Here it is, return order, return action, it is asking. But I don't have a return action. I'll just go to view details. Click on return action. Damaged goods. Or what we can say. Goods not in good condition. I'll just give 2 return action. So I'll just give this as damaged goods here. This time I think I should post the product receipt, or Save this. Again, I might have to confirm the PO maybe, since I have made some changes here. Well, taking some time. Yeah, it still shows as confirmed only. It's okay. Then we can receive the goods. Product receipt again. Yeah, so Sushil, I was saying the entry for the product receipt. Tell me, what is the entry for product receipt?
I thought it as a return information.
Anyone, what is the entry for the product receipt here?
ఇన్వెంటరీ అనేది క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది కదండి. ఇన్వెంటరీ మనకి మామూలుగా చూస్తే కనుక అది ఇన్వెంటరీ డెబిట్ అవుతుంది. ఆ తర్వాత ఆ పర్చేజ్ అక్రూవల్ అనేది క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది కదా మనకి.
అవును.
దీనికి ఇది ఇది ఆపోజిట్ గా అవుతుంది అనుకోవచ్చా?
Correct. Since inventory is going out of your inventory box, so you will have inventory account credited and purchase accrual account will be debited. That's all. So we'll go to receive, go to product receipt. See, this one is posted, and go to voucher. You can see the same finished goods inventory is credited. So our inventory account is credited. Accrued purchase account is debited. Right here, material received is credited and purchase accrual is debited. Clear, all of you? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Sairam, Saidip.
Yes, JB.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it will just show the reverse accounting impacts. That's all. Now you can see it is received, which means goods are being delivered to the vendor or delivered to the vendor. Go to invoice, and then the next step is only generating invoice, right? So I just do that. What was that original invoice number name? MSI or MIS 45? I hardly remember that. Let's go to all vendors and see it. No problem. Accounts payable, all vendors. Maruti Suzuki, right? Go to this transactions. Open transactions only. Where is this? MSI 45. This is the invoice, right? So this is not settled yet. This is still in open transactions. So we will settle with this credit note only. We do not made any payment for this invoice, guys. So this is still open. There is no need to pay, or there is no need to refund also, because you did not pay it. You are returning the goods, right? So you are returning the goods, so you will just give the number as R MSI, right? MSI 45. R means return of MSI 45. Assume that invoice date is you are sending it on 22nd, suppose, and come down. You can see the same line. Purchase order quantity. Here you can see 2 quantity, 1000 unit price, and minus 2000 will be the same here for the invoice. And what else we can do? Just update them as status. Past, and we can post it. Once after posting it, this credit note invoice also will come into vendor transactions. Yo, it's posted. As you can see, invoice is posted, and you see the PO is invoiced, and you can see the invoice here under journals and invoice. you can see the invoice here, and you can see the voucher. In the voucher, you can see the product receipt reversal entry as it is. Purchase accrual is being credited, and material received is being debited. So it's just a reversal of the earlier product receipt entry. So that is only a reversal entry, and reversal of that reversal entry you can see. Vendor balance or accounts payable is getting debited here, as you can see, and inventory invoiced is getting credited because you are losing inventory and you are debiting the vendor, right? So it's a credit note, not a straight invoice. It's a reverse invoice. So you can see accounts payable getting debited and inventory getting credited. Inventory invoiced getting credited. This will be the original entry for the PO or the PO invoice. Sorry. Clear this entry as well for all of you. Yes or no? Bala, is it clear for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the same reversal entry. Everything will post in reverse. The debits will post in credits. That's all. From the compared to the original purchase order invoice, in the return order invoice, everything will be in reverse. That's all. Just it will create everything in reverse such that the accounting impacts will become zero because of posting that particular or invoice for the certain goods. How much accounting impact that you have faced, that will be entirely reversed. So exactly the same voucher will reflect with the opposite balances. Debits will be credited, credits will be debited. That's the thing. If this is clear, yeah, we can just close this back and I go to vendor transactions, refresh this form. If I refresh this form, I can see the invoice here. RMSI 45, where I can see 2000 here. Here I see 2000 as a negative balance, which I have to pay. Here I see 2000 as positive balance, which I have to receive maybe. But there is no payment happened, right? So we can settle this original invoice with this credit note directly. Without, it's more like a payment transaction, but it's a reverse of invoice. So we can settle this original invoice transaction with this credit note. So how do I do that settlement from here? Any idea? So how do I settle two transactions?
Select the transaction.
First select the transaction. Okay. Select the
Settlement
single transaction. Yes. Settlement. Settle transactions. Then select the transaction to which select the transaction which you are going to settle. It's MSI 45 as well as the return order here, RMSI 45. Here you see MSI 45 I was selected. You can see slowly. And then in the bottom I selected RMSI 45, 2000 and minus 2000 for settlement. So this is for 2000 which I have to pay to vendor. This is for 2000 which I have to receive from vendor. Both are opposite transactions. So I can select both of them and click on post here. So if I do that, they'll get settled automatically. Just like a payment is settled to an invoice, the same way original invoice is settled to credit note. So now I don't see both the invoices here, neither the original invoice nor the credit note invoice. They will be under closed transaction. So if I open this, I can see them again somewhere here, 45. See, there is no pending balance on this because it is settled already. Settled with this credit note invoice RMSI 45, which is also having zero balance. You can see that if you select this and you can go to settlement and settlement history, you can see which is settled against it. See, this invoice is being settled. Clear? Creating credit notes. So now my question is, let us assume that this original invoice is paid and settled. Right? It's paid and settled. Now I created a credit note. Now I don't have any original invoice to settle with it because the invoice was already settled with the payment transaction. Now, to which transaction that I will settle my credit note to? See, the original invoice is paid and settled already. So now my credit note will be in open transactions, right? So what should I do with that credit note? How can I settle this one? Any idea or any suggestions, workarounds, solutions?
Settle with the existing things or like the incoming.
Any idea? You can say anything.
Suppose we are paid prepayment, we can set off that transaction.
See, no, it's not prepayment. We have made normal payment for the invoice already. It's settled. And now we
can settle
create
with
the credit.
payment transaction.
Should we reverse?
Why you reverse? If you reverse again, you will have accounting impacts getting reversed.
Yes.
And again, you will have inventory transactions in place. You should not reverse it. There should be any other way. Come on, guys, we discussed it already now, right? What happens if you deliver the goods to the vendor?
Refund.
You will receive refund. What happens if you receive refund? You will post a payment transaction for that, right? Refund transaction.
Yes.
You will settle that credit note with the refund transaction only.
So it's just like what we did in the credit note, like and in the previous things where
Same
we
way.
have created.
Same way, you will post a vendor payment transaction where you will credit the vendor account because vendor is credited, right? You are receiving refund from the vendor and your bank account will be debited. Isn't that? So you will post a reverse payment transaction where vendor account will be credited, bank account will be debited. So you can do that. Suppose let us try to do this one. What we'll do is I'll just undo the settlement which we have done with this particular invoice. So let me select both of them and I'll reverse them. Now let us assume that the original invoice was settled already. Let us assume that there is only credit note in place, credit note transaction only in place, which is this one, RSI. So I'll just go for open transactions now. Here I can see this one, RMSI 45 is a open transaction now, where we have to receive 2000 refund from the vendor. So let's post a payment transaction for the vendor for the refund. So go to payment journal. Takes a while to load. Go to a new payment journal. Go to lines. So you can also directly settle that invoice from here, just like you were doing earlier, right? You can select that credit note and you can settle it here. If you select that credit note, automatically the amount will come on the credit side because it's a reverse invoice, right? So suppose I'll show you. I'll select that vendor account like Maruti Suzuki and I'll go to settle transactions once after it gets active here. If I go to settle transactions, so I can see that invoice somewhere here, RMSI 45, where it see for all invoices the amount is on that side because you have to pay them. But this invoice the amount is on this side because you have to receive it. Suppose if I select this mark and click on OK. See, vendor is automatically getting credited here. If you are going to settle that invoice, why it is getting credited? Any idea? Because it's a reverse invoice. So for normal invoices, when you make payment, vendor will be debited, right? Vendor will receive the money. Here, vendor is paying us back. So you can directly settle it from here, or you can normally post a payment transaction and go and settle it there in the vendor transactions. You can do either ways. Let's do this one. Okay, you just selected vendor as credit, right? Now we will select a bank account. Bank. Select the offset bank account as SBI Bank. So you are receiving money into this SBI Bank for suppose. Method of payment that he is choosing is you can select any method of payment. It's not required actually. If he was paying through check again, we might have to generate check. But for these kind of receipts, there is nothing to take off, right? So I don't select any method of payment. I can give some notes here or payment reference numbers I can give. So payment reference numbers are somewhere here. Payment reference you can give or give a note. You can also give a note, normal note here. Note like vendor check 45. So it's vendor is paying you through check number 45. So you can also give the bank payment reference as 45 here. So you can see we are crediting the vendor and debiting our bank account, means money is being received into our bank account. It's a reverse payment transaction. And I can validate this before I post it, and I'll post it later. So it's okay. There is no problem with this journal. Post it. And that's all. Now, if you go to vendor transactions and if you refresh this, you don't see that reversed invoice here because that is settled, right? You can see it in all transactions now. Somewhere here, you can see this reversed invoice. And I can also see that payment transaction is here somewhere 2000, this one. Reverse and this one. So if I go to settlement and settlement history, I can see two history for this. So this one is when I settled with the original invoice and reversed with the original invoice. This one is the one payment transaction or reverse payment transaction that I received and settled with it. So there is some history for this settlement. So this is what the settlement history is for the reverse invoice or for the credit note invoice, or for the return order invoice. Okay, and that would be all. And if I go to all purchase orders once again, I can see purchase orders, all are purchase orders except the last one, it is a return order here. So you can sort it in this way. How many credit notes you have, you can just sort it as return order here. Under purchase type, you can filter it as return. So I'll just call it as a return. Apply matches or matches. Apply. There is only one return order like that. And it is invoiced already. Clear the process, or do you have any other scenarios in mind? Anyone? No? Speak up, guys. Do you have any doubts or scenarios in mind? Sairam, Sushila, Saideep, Bala, Santosh.
నా రిసిప్ట్స్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత వెండర్స్లోకి వెళ్ళి సెటిల్ చేయొచ్చా? రిసిప్ట్స్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత వెండర్స్లోకి వెళ్ళి సెటిల్ చేయొచ్చా?
చేయొచ్చు, చెప్పాను కదా ఆల్రెడీ.
సరే నేను ఎందుకు లేను.
పేమెంట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ దగ్గర ఆల్రెడీ ఇన్వాయిస్ సెటిల్ చేసి నేను పేమెంట్ చేసా కదా, రిసీవ్ చేసుకున్నా కదా మరి రిఫండ్ అమౌంట్. అలా కాకుండా రిఫండ్ జనరల్ గా పోస్ట్ చేసుకొని తర్వాత వెళ్ళి వెండర్ పేమెంట్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ లో కూడా సెటిల్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. రెండు ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ని రెండు ఓపెన్ లో ఉంటాయి కదా అప్పుడు. అలా అదనమాట. ఇంకా Sushila, do you have any doubts?
Hello, JP.
Yeah, Srinivas.
So let us assume that vendor has sent credit note to us.
Vendor don't send credit note to us. We will send credit note.
No, it's like sometimes like we'll get credit notes from vendor itself, right? Like once we send the products, like once we return the products, whenever we return or any resend the products, we will receive the credit notes also sometimes.
So credit note, generally we only send the credit note. When we are returning the goods, we are the one who normally send a credit note to the vendor. and vendor also we might send an acknowledgement for the same. So what next?
No, what I was thinking is like in generally, like we used to we used to get invoices along with that. Even credit notes also sometimes we used to receive. In general, I was telling like in SAP process. So at that time, we need to identify for which invoice that credit note is related to.
Okay.
So that was the process actually. But here, I don't know how you said that like we will create a credit note.
Yeah, we will create a credit note because you are returning the goods, right? The accounting impacts has to be reversed.
Okay, but in general, what happens is like once we return goods, we will get a credit note. Like the same way we'll get invoice, right? In the same way, we'll get the credit note from the vendor, and we
Okay.
need to identify for which invoice that credit note is related to. In case if the payment is already happened, we will just get the refund, or else if it is not, if the payment is not done, we'll just reject the credit note.
And you, if the payment is not done, you will reject the credit note. And reject the credit note and do what? See, if you reject the credit note, the original invoice is already posted, right? So how that
Yes.
accounting impacts and inventory impacts will be cleared?
Okay. No. See, once we do the payment, then only we'll get the refund, right? If the payment is not done, there is no point if you receive credit note from the vendor.
Correct. No, you if you don't post the credit note or don't do the credit note here in Dynamics, suppose, or in any other ERP, the accounting impacts of the purchase order and the purchase order invoice are still there, right? You have received two inventory, and your inventory is added with two goods, and that is still there, and you have made accounting impacts, and this accounts payable account is being credited, and that is still open. So how to clear that in case if you reject the credit note or don't post the credit note?
At that time, we can just reduce the inventory received, right? Whatever we have, by removing the
Okay.
whatever the inventory we have sent.
That's what we have done by posting a product receipt in negative number. And we have cleared the accounting impacts by posting a credit note here or the return order invoice. So that the exact original invoice and transactions, whatever we have done, are exactly reversed here. So in case
Okay.
the way that you are saying, assume that credit note you are rejecting. So in that case, the original invoice is still existing in your system, right? So what will you do that with that original invoice?
Okay.
So that's a concern. Okay.
Yeah. So generally, like in normal AP process, this is what happening. Like we will get invoices as well as credit notes from the vendor, and then we need to recheck for which the invoice that particular credit note is linked with, like whether it is paid or not paid. If it is paid, then we'll have to claim that refund from the vendor by sharing the bank details.
So if it
Else,
is paid, you
we'll
don't
get,
post the credit note too.
we have to post.
You post the credit note and you will receive the refund.
Correct.
Okay. In this case, you will post the credit note, but you don't receive the refund. You will just settle that credit note to the original invoice and everything will be cleared. That's all.
Oh,
Okay.
So
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 in then, yeah, Bala, please.
మనకి మామూలుగా అమెజాన్‌లో కూడా మనము చూస్తాం కదా! ఏదన్నా బుక్ చేసినప్పుడు అది డెలివరీ కాకముందే మనం యాక్చువల్లీ కొన్ని సార్లు రిటర్న్ చేసేస్తాం మనం అది.
డెలివరీ కాకముందు రిటర్న్ చేస్తాం, అది వేరు.
అంటే అది ఓకే. ఓకే.
డెలివరీ కాకముందు రిటర్న్ చేస్తే నువ్వు ఇన్వాయిసే పోస్ట్ చేయవు కదా ఇక్కడ. సపోజ్
రైట్.
వీ డోంట్ రిసీవ్ ప్రొడక్ట్ రిసిప్టే పోస్ట్ చేయం, తర్వాత ఇన్వాయిసే పోస్ట్ చేయం. డైరెక్ట్‌గా P1 క్యాన్సిల్ చేసేసుకుంటాం.
అంతే
Right.
కరెక్టే.
Simple. So if at all you are receiving the goods and you did not invoice them and you want to return the goods, then also you can do it. You can just cancel the product receipt and return the goods as it is. అప్పుడు ఇన్వాయిస్ కూడా పోస్ట్ అవ్వలేదు కదా, మళ్ళీ ఇంకా ఇన్వాయిస్ ఏం అవసరం లేదు.
అంటే కొన్నిసార్లు మనం గూడ్స్ కూడా రిటర్న్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం కూడా ఉండదండి మామూలుగా. లైక్ వాట్ వి సీ ఇస్ దట్ ఇన్ సమ్ కేస్ లైక్ వెన్ ద గూడ్స్ ఆర్ డ్యామేజ్డ్, ఇట్స్ లైక్ we always we also do get the credit note as well as the goods remains with us actually.
1 second. Credit note and goods remains with us. So in that case also you have to decrease your inventory, right? Damage అయిన goods మనం ఎలాగ ఇన్వెంటరీలో పెట్టుకోలేం కదా. So they are just thrown out. See, there are two situations. One, when goods will be received at your warehouse, so your warehouse manager will check the slip, GRN or product receipt, whatever the slip they will bring. 6 goods that they will say that will be written on that slip, and 6 goods will be delivered. First before accepting it, what he will do is he will just check the goods are in proper situation or not. Okay, if the goods are not proper or not at all good, so he will just send it there itself. He don't take the goods or accept the goods. The van in which the goods are delivered, he'll just send them there itself, and he don't accept the goods at all. So that's one process. Or he'll just say the return from there itself, or we can place a return from there itself without claiming the receipt of goods. So they are just kept aside and they can be returned after another day. Here we don't post any product receipt because warehouse manager did not confirm us that the goods are good and received. Okay, and there is another situation where you receive the goods and the received goods are good at that point of time, but after working for 1 day or 2 days, they are not working properly or damaged. So you have a return policy with the vendor that you can deliver the goods until 30 days if they are not in proper place or not properly working. So you will utilize that. At that point of time, you have already received the goods, you posted a product receipt and invoiced and paid also. After working on the goods, that you have got some issue and then you can deliver the goods. So at that time, you have credit note and everything in place. Got it? See, in this vendor transactions, normally you cannot reverse a payment purchase order invoice. Suppose this is a purchase order invoice, right? Invoice number 65/2. See, I have an option called reverse here in the vendor transactions. If I click on reverse and reverse transaction, so the open vendor invoice is tied to a purchase order. See, if it is tied to a purchase order, you cannot reverse it automatically. You have to create a credit note definitely, and you have to settle that credit note to this invoice. In case if this invoice is already settled with a payment, suppose, you have to create a credit note and receive the refund and settle that refund to the credit note. That's all. So normal vendor invoices or invoice journals, you can reverse them automatically here. By clicking on reverse, it will directly reverse that transaction. Normally when we post vendor invoice journal, vendor account will be credited and expense account will be debited, right? So that will be entirely reversed. Vendor account will be debited and expense account will be credited, and the accounting impacts will get closed by there. So for that kind of invoices, you can normally do reverse here, non-PO invoices. But for purchase order invoices, there is no process of reversing. You have to create a credit note definitely. That's all. And payment transactions, yes, you cannot reverse the payment transactions also usually. So this is a payment transaction, right, for 1800. I'm not sure what method we have used for paying it. If it is a check transaction, yes, you can go and reverse it because you have a check reversal mechanism in cash and bank management. Through there, you can reverse it using that check reversal process. But if it is not a check transaction, then it is tough to reverse it. Let's see what this transaction is, vendor payment transaction. So let's go to original document where it will take me to the journal where I posted it. Go to view details. Go to lines. It automatically take me to the vendor payment journal. So this is a post dated check actually. So I can't reverse it, I think here. So let's try it. See here, select this one, assume, and I'll just click on reverse, click on reverse transaction. What it is saying, ledger transaction type, ledger journal for account is cannot be reversed. So you can't reverse this. Even if it is any payment transaction which is involving bank, you can't reverse it. You can either reverse it through account cash and bank management. For such situations like check reversal, you have the option, right? But you can't directly reverse it from here. But other transactions you can reverse from here, like vendor invoice journals you can reverse. But payment transactions or payment transactions paid through electronic payment, or you can't reverse. Payment transaction paid through cash, yes, you can reverse it. But in which are involving bank, you can't reverse directly from here. And PO invoices, as I told you, you can't reverse them directly from here. You have to definitely create a credit note for reversal. Clear, guys? Any confusion in this process? Any of you? So it's not simple process. So just like you do a normal PO invoice, you will do a negative number credit, negative number. Just give negative quantity and do the process as same. That's all. How much ever goods you have to receive, on which goods you have to receive, you'll select that item number and select the particular number of quantity that you want to receive and give a negative number and reverse them. Okay, and it will give you a negative or the reverse accounting impacts to clear all the effects that have been done during the original invoice. It will clear everything. That's all. Just go through the process once again or work on it, practice it, see the difference, and let me know if you have any doubts in this process or if you face anything. So, like the scenario as Srinivas was saying that if we have a invoice, purchase order invoice, which is open already. See, if we credit note, if we don't post credit note, it will still show as open that you have to pay this 2000 to the vendor. How many ever times you open it, it will still show as open transaction only, which has to be settled. But if you post a credit note and settle with this invoice, then both of them will get settled and it will show the accounting impact as 0. Accounts receivable account will get reversed and you can see no more vendor transactions also pending. So that's how it generally works in Dynamics. If you are returning the goods, generally you will only send a credit note as an acknowledgement to the vendors. So you see, these are the goods that we are returning to you, and this is the invoice related to that. If there is any payment made, just refund that payment. If there is no payment made, this is the acknowledgement, general acknowledgement for refund of your goods, or sorry, return of your goods. Vendor also might send a credit note saying that, yeah, we have received the goods and these are the goods that we have received. He will send a normal note again in return to you. So that's just for an acknowledgement sake to confirm you that they have received the goods and those are the goods that they have received in return from you. That's all, guys. So tomorrow we'll discuss about few topics like inquiries and reports and accounts payable parameters. So I have some event at the same time tomorrow. Let's see if I would be attending it. I'll inform you in by afternoons. If not, we'll have a class. So this would generally take a class for discussion on inquiries and reports and accounts payable parameters. So we'll complete these two topics and accounts payable will be completed. So it's a very important module, as I was saying. You have to practice all the scenarios that I told, as well as you can also practice something that is out of box, or if you have any scenarios or situations in mind, you can also practice them rather than just practicing what I told. Just try to explore more from the module. So once done with accounts payable, we'll start with accounts receivable. It will get completed quickly only. Then we will discuss tax module and then to fixed assets module. Okay, the tax module is not here in this. But generally tax module should be there somewhere. It's not here. Yeah. So that would be all. I'll just stop the recording until